What's good? It's Skano. I saw a survey, a poll. It said that marriage rates had dropped, 30, 40%, you know, uh, since the early 2000s. That's quite significant. And a lot of people, would, say that is due to, feminism and, you know, uh, link up culture and maybe a small percentage of it. But you know what it really is? Men are starting to become, enlightened. I think that, and having been married, I'm not speaking out of my ass. I was married for close to 12 years, and I say it was all bad. It's the highlights. You know, it's like watching ESPN. The game itself. You know, eh, the highlights. That's what you tune in for, right? But the game itself is rigged. And I say that to say that I think most married men, and I'm a certain type of guy, like I'm not really. There's nothing wrong with trying to, you know, accommodate your spouse. You know, that's the only way a relationship will work. But it got to work both ways. The old saying, happy wife, happy life. And really, what happens when you, as a man, enter into marriage in this day and age, you've signed away, for all intents and purposes, you've signed away your rights to be happy. It's all about making her happy. It would drain you financially, because women love going on trips, and I'm not talking about, just to Florida. They want extravagant trips, you know, Bermuda, the islands, the tropical, you know, and hey, to each their own, But for regular guys, the working class man, marriage is like quicksand, you know. You just sink lower and lower, not just financially, but mentally, you know. If you're emotionally attached to her, if she's not happy, you're not going to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Your life becomes a series of obstacle courses, you know. As soon as you walk through the door, a lot of y'all don't even want to go in the house. Admit it. You get home, if you go straight home, well, you make up reasons not to go home. You know, yeah, the car need washing again the third time today. Or we need something from the grocery store, even though we stocked, but you're walking aimlessly around the grocery store just in the days, you know. Then you creep up in the driveway, shut the engine off and you sit there. You contemplate, you're thinking, because once you walk in that door, it becomes a emotional and psychological battlefield, you know. And I found that a lot of women now, nothing appeases women now. I mean, in the beginning, when it's all fresh and new, you know. But see, women are excellent. They are masters of role playing. You find in the beginning stages, and a lot of y'all men that are married, y'all know it's true. She's not the person that you dated, In the early, segment of your relationship, she was almost completely different. You know what I'm saying? Happy, laughing, smiling. The little corny jokes you made, she laughed at them. You know what I'm saying? She encouraged you. Whatever your goals and ambitions were, she encouraged them, and you know, this is the one. Man, where have you been all my life? You know, A year later, you don't recognize this person. Always, always in a bad mood or sad, you know, contradicting herself, you know. At first, she wasn't around enough, so you cut back on work. Maybe you take a part-time job, to be around more for her and the kids once you've progressed to that stage, you know. And now all of a sudden you're around too much. You're suffocating her. She needs space. And it's like, what? The apartment is no longer suitable. You need a home now, So you bust your ass doing OT, saving money, maybe even overextending yourself financially, and to get that home. And then all of a sudden, the home is just another thing. Women are never satisfied. And now, not all women, obviously, but a lot of women fall into this category. They're never satisfied. So it becomes a non-ending, series of, like I said, obstacle courses. You trying to appease her and please her and make her happy. And I think it dawned on men that have already been in a marriage and divorced. Some of y'all that are still married, it's dawned on you. She'll never be happy. It'll never be enough. You can never do enough to make her happy because she isn't a happy person. See, that person that, like I said, role playing in the beginning, was just full of sunshine. You know what I'm saying? And every time she smiled, man, she just blinded you with her brilliance. That person doesn't exist in real life. Her nature is dark, it's stormy. It's like springtime in Ohio. One day you might get, rain. The next it may be sunshine. It may rain and then the sun will come out immediately and then it'll rain again in the same course of 10 hours. You know what I'm saying? You don't know, you're walking on eggshells. You're trying to figure out, well, what am I not doing right? Because women have, manipulated men to think, a lot of married men, to believe that it's a you problem. If she's not happy, it's something that you're not doing. You know what I'm saying? And most men are being, especially if you're in love with her, you're ever in fear of losing her. You think of the next person that could come along and make her happy and fulfill her. That's the last thing you want to happen. So you're doing everything you can, When you finally propose, because marriage is a big thing in the beginning, she wants to be married, You buy a ring, and then all of a sudden, X amount of time passes. That ring isn't big enough anymore, She wants a bigger ring. Such and such down the street that she works with has a 5 carat, you know what I'm saying? And she only has 1.5. You slacking, man. So, it's never ending. And you find that you have no peace of mind. The one place that you should be able to come after you leave the real battlefield, which is the world, you have no sanctuary, no place of peace anymore. Your house isn't a home. It's an emotional and psychological battlefield. And you finally wake up one day and you realize you're miserable. You know what I'm saying? You're miserable because at some point it dawns on you, nothing will suffice. But even deeper than that, when it all falls apart, you realize it doesn't matter what you do. She's not going to be happy because she's not a happy person. You get what I'm saying? a lot of women, especially if they were already in an extended relationship, married before, or had kids with somebody else, uh, there's emotional wear and tear. There's emotional damage, psychological damage. And try as though you may, you won't be able to repair that. Only Christ can repair the things, her issues. More often than not, you are fighting a losing battle. And you will find yourself drained, not just physically, mentally, psychologically, financially, drained. And she will never be happy. So that's why marriage rates have drastically declined. Men are starting, especially men that have been married. And it's men putting game out here for you younger men, not to try to distort your mind or turn you against women. There are many, wonderful women out here, from what I heard. But there are also just as many, if not more, emotionally damaged women. And they are not happy. She wasn't happy before you met her. That was an act. And there will be nothing that you can do to make her happy. There'll be short-term highs, the highs are what keep you around. You keep thinking about, to when things were great. How can I get that back again? Man, that was all a charade. That's over. Forget about that. Now, this is the reality. You know what I'm saying? So you stay, or maybe the kids, you stay around, but you're a prisoner in your own home, a prisoner in your own body and your own mind. You don't even like doing the things you used to do, not because she doesn't approve, because they don't bring you joy anymore. That joy has been sucked out of you by an emotional vampire. And every night is feast. It's a feast on your soul, which is slowly being drained out of you until you're just a walking shell of yourself, a zombie. You get up, you go to work, you on autopilot, but the existential you that used to is no longer there. And if you are, and once you break free, if you're ever able to break free, because I see a lot of guys, even in their 50s and 60s, and you be out and about, and they trailing behind the wife, and she's, bantering away about whatever, complaining, and you could just see it, man. You could just see it in their eyes. The spirit is just broken, just, and they've accepted it. They've accepted their fate. Happy wife, happy life. But you'll be miserable. So, that's why men are stepping away from serious relationships, It's the fact that peace, peace, man. Peace of mind, peace in your spirit. That's more valuable than any, anything that marriage can bring you. I mean, this is just my, point of view, But a lot of you younger men, you will, I guess it's a rite of passage, or, it's just the natural way of things, and but one day you'll wake up and you'll realize, you're not happy. She's not happy. You're not happy. And it was all just a waste of time. Waste of time, a waste of energy, waste of money. It's a complete waste. And if you are fortunate enough to become enlightened and have the strength, find the strength within you to break away, she won't miss you. She really won't. But I'll tell you what, you'll find something that far outweighs anything you'll ever find in a relationship, man, and that is peace. You'll find that your money is being freed up. You can go and enjoy the things that you used to enjoy. Find new things to discover. You know what I'm saying? Actually live for yourself, not through someone else. And maybe I'm just a selfish person, I'm a loving person. I'm a loyal person. But in a sense, I am selfish because my peace of mind is more valuable. It's more valuable to me than making a woman happy. Now, like I said, man, if you find somebody that's compatible, and they work both ways, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. It really is. But good luck with that. Because like I said, this landscape is littered with damaged women. And not to say men don't have their own damage, but most of it is because of the women that they've been in relationships with. But it is what it is. So, good luck on your journey. And if you are one of these married men that are, you know what I'm saying, find yourself, wondering, what am I doing wrong? You haven't left yet. No ops left Skano. You already know.